College football fans, welcome back or welcome in to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the channel created by the college football fan for the college football fan, the channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. It's great to be back with you. And what I've got on tap for you today, this is my Orange Bowl preview and predictions episode. The Orange Bowl is the first college football playoff semifinal. It kicks off tomorrow evening, Thursday the 9th, down in Miami, and that'll be between the 6th seed Penn State Nittany Lions and the number 7 seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, before I say anything else, I just want to say thank you for your continued support, for all that you have done for the channel and what you hopefully will do moving forward for the channel. It has been a great season here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Subscriptions and views, rates, comments, everything is trending in the right direction, but I need your help. I want to find more college football fans just like you. If you've been wandering in purgatory, lost in the wilderness, trying to find a college football channel that is a safe haven, a welcome spot for all you college football fans, welcome home. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, rate. And I always, if this is your first time joining me here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, you are the ones who fuel and drive these episodes. Without you, none of this is possible. So I always welcome, ask for, and appreciate your participation. So please light up that comment sections in response to any of my insights or opinions that I present to you today. I can't wait to hear from you, and thank you for all that you've done for the channel. So please get involved, Penn State fans, Notre Dame fans, and I want to give a big shout out to Penn State fan number 1, my boy Timmy V. Hopefully you're watching, hopefully you enjoy, but we'll have to wait and see if you're happy or unhappy with my final prediction for this matchup. So please get involved, like, share, comment, subscribe. Love you. Sammy Sosa style. Can't wait to hear from you. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to the nature at hand. All right, so the Orange Bowl, as I mentioned, kicking off tomorrow night down there in sunny, warm Florida. There's no ice or snow issues like we've had here in the Show Me State from the Winter Storm Blair. Blair causing all these problems. Winter Storm Blair that came through earlier this week at the end of the weekend. So there will be no weather issues or delays down there in Miami Beach. So before I break down this matchup itself, I just want to go ahead and kind of give you the deets on this game. Now, number 6 Penn State. Now, that ranking does not reflect in the AP poll. That is the ranking via the college football playoff seed going into playoff play. Number 6 Penn State currently is a 1-point underdog. It's a little bit unique to see the higher seed being the dog in this matchup, but being only 1 point, it really tells you this is really just potentially a toss-up game. Really? And number 7, Notre Dame, the over-under for this game currently is 44.5 points. Both the line and the over-under has kind of steadily dropped over the last couple days, so I think it's really going to stay where it is now, though. Maybe the over-under might move by maybe 1 point either way, but I think it's pretty much going to be locked in at this moment in time. So let's go ahead and quickly review how these two teams got here. All right. Now, go ahead and rewind to the very beginning of the season. There's 133 Division I FBS football teams. Their goal at the beginning of week 1 was to find themselves at the 12-team college football playoff big boy table to find themselves a seat. And here they dwindled down to 12. and now we have 4 teams remaining. Penn State, who was the Big Ten runner-up, they lost to Oregon in the Big Ten title game. They are 13-2 overall. During the playoff play, they defeated number 11 seed SMU at home in Happy Valley to the score of 38-10. And they then went on the road and knocked off number 3 Boise State, led by Heisman Trophy finalist Austin Genty, the score of 31-14 on a neutral site. Notre Dame, which is still an independent, currently they are 13-1 overall. The only loss they suffered was in week 2, I believe, or maybe week 3, at the hands of the Northern Illinois University Huskies out of the MAC, who recently broke they're going to be joining the Mountain West Conference in 2026 for football only. But since then, they have absolutely flexed like Lex Luger and Scott Steiner of old. All of you wrestling fans, you'll get what my references are there. So they have looked the part and have gone undefeated since. And how they got to the semifinals, they defeated number 10 Indiana at home in South Bend in front of Touchdown Jesus, 27-17. And then in the Sugar Bowl, they defeated number 2 seeded Georgia, the SEC champion, 23-10. So when I look at who's had the tougher road to get here, I'm going to go ahead and say a slight edge has to be given to Notre Dame. I mean, no offense against SMU and Boise State, who Penn State has dispatched, but Notre Dame absolutely has played, I think, better competition overall in the playoff play than the Nittany Lions have. So I give the advantage there to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. All right, so let's go ahead and start to break down this matchup. And at the very end, I'll go ahead and give you what my final prediction is. Who do I see moving on to the national championship game? You got to just patiently stand by and wait. And as I said, thank you for all you do, your time, your attention. Please comment, like, share, rate, subscribe, get involved. And I promise I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later, individually via those comments. All right, so one thing I always like to share with you when it comes down to a matchup such as this, when it's good on good, is something that doesn't lie, and that is the stats. All right, and the stats between these two teams are fairly close when it comes down to numerous categories, and some of those that I wanted to share with you are as follows. Both of these teams, first and foremost, are known for their solid defensive prowess and play. I mean, these are two of the most physical teams that have been throughout the entire season here in college football, and that has been completely on display not only during playoff play, but during the regular season as well. Now, the total defensive ranks for each of these teams, I'm going to start off with the higher seed, then to the lower seed for all of these. For total defense, Penn State is 6th overall in total defense compared to Notre Dame, who is 8th overall in total D. So there's not much of a difference there. I mean, very similar to where they stand. Like I said, both of these teams want to absolutely grind out and make it be difficult and tough and make their opponents work for the yards that they earn when they square off against opponents. Now, one thing I wanted to further break down amongst the defensive standings category is rush defense. All right. Currently, Penn State is 8th in the nation, allowing 100 yards per game on the ground. Really, really solid. When Notre Dame is definitely behind them. Notre Dame is 34th overall, allowing 127 yards per game on the ground. Now, the reason why that's going to be very important is both of these teams want to dominate the lines of scrimmage, and they want to get their running games going, because a lot of these teams' success is going to be built around how effective their run games are. All right, so that's going to be a huge thing to keep an eye on during this game tomorrow night. Now, turnover margin. When you have two strong defenses that are squaring off like we have in this contest, turnover margin can absolutely swing the tide either way. So for turnover margin, Penn State is tied for 17th with a plus 10 turnover margin, which is not bad at all. But Notre Dame is third overall in the nation, positive 18. So that tells you right there that Notre Dame's defense gets after the ball. I mean, they are ball hogs, ball hawks. They cause those turnovers, and they absolutely cash in on those opportunities to create and bring in turnovers. That's going to be a big thing to watch in this game as well, is which team is going to play the most clean. That's going to be a huge variable that goes into the overall success of either team in this matchup. Now, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the offensive ranks, because once again, nobody ever won a game 0-0. You must score some points to win, and that's going to be difficult on these very tough, tried and tested defenses. So, rush offense. As I mentioned, both of these teams want to pound the ball, whether it be between the tackles or get outside. So, rush offense. I wanted to look at this stat and share it with you. Currently, Penn State is 18th in the nation in yards per game. They average 202 yards per game on the ground among their dynamic duo of running backs that they will show off in their backfield. While Notre Dame, definitely a little bit better than that. Notre Dame is 11th in the nation in total rush yards per game with 217. They definitely have some very stud running backs as well, but also they have a quarterback in Riley Leonard who is fleet of foot and can make things happen, extend plays, and kind of go ahead and be a little bit on the cusp and make things happen. All right? Now, total offense, all right? Because in a game like this, it's really going to favor a team that doesn't rely primarily on either the rush attack or the vertical pass attack. So looking at the total offense, Penn State is 25th in the nation with 436 yards per game on offense, while Notre Dame is slightly ahead of them. They average slightly behind of them, I should say. Excuse me. I do my own stunts here in the Touchdown Black and Go vlog. I don't do any edits. I don't do any rehearsals. I don't do anything like that because that's a job. I've already got one, so that's work. This is purely hobby and pleasure. But Notre Dame is 49th in the nation, creating 406 yards per game on offense. So what that tells me is maybe Penn State's offense is a little bit more well-rounded than Notre Dame's. Now, another huge key, something that you have to look at when you're breaking down a matchup of this caliber, is special teams. I know maybe it's because I've been a loyal Hawkeye fan my entire life, and hey, after all, punting is winning. I love special teams. And they do absolutely tip the scales when you have a matchup that's going to be so close, at least anticipated to be close, such as this one. So I wanted to get a good idea of how accurate and how consistent and reliable the field goal kickers and their units were in this game. And coming into this matchup, Penn State's field goal kicker, Ryan Barker, is 14 of 17 on the season for field goals. That's good for 82% clip. Not too bad. When Notre Dame's place kicker, Mitch Jeter, comes in at 11 out of 18, good for 61%. So definitely that favors Penn State. But when I look at the total overall attempts for both of these kickers, 17 and 18, that's not really a lot of attempts. But definitely, just from looking at this on paper, I favor Ryan Barker. If it comes down to his right or left foot, kicking it up for the win or a crucial tie late in the game. All right? So when I look at the stats, I have to lean to advantage Penn State. And once again, those things do not lie. They don't. Now, I get it. Not all schedules are created equal, but here we are. I mean, both of these teams had a tough route to get here, so I do give the advantage via the stats to Penn State. All right? Now, the next thing I wanted to share with you is some impact players on each squad. These are cats that I cannot wait to watch, and I think they are single-handedly the ones who could turn the tide. All right? So my impact players, I'm going to start off with Penn State. If you don't know about him, I don't know where you've been. I've got to start off with their multi-talented, their Swiss Army knife, tight end Tyler Warren, one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the nation. The guy can block extremely well. He runs the jet sweep. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. I mean, he's really, like I said, that Swiss Army knife there for Penn State. And I already mentioned their dynamic duo in the offensive backfield, their running backs, running back Katron Allen and running back Nick Singleton. These guys have proven throughout this season they both can tote the rock, and they're going to try to wear down the Notre Dame defensive line, which has been one of the most slow and steady, solid defensive lines in college football this entire season. Now, my last impact player for Penn State, and this is really a huge unknown, but I have to mention him, their stud defensive end, Abdul Carter. He is questionable for this game. He got banged up in the last game against Boise State. He is questionable for this game, but if he is out there, he is a one-man wrecking crew for that Nittany Lion defense, especially that defensive line. He creates pressure. He demands that you double team him. Tight ends have to at least chip block him. Just point being, you have to account for Abdul Carter when he is lined up on that field. All right? Now, I also want to share the key units for each of these teams. And for Penn State, the key unit, the unit that really has to win their assignments, is the defensive line. All right? Because Notre Dame, I'll get to what they're going to try to do in a little bit, but the key unit for Penn State is their defensive line. Not only do they have to create pressure on Riley Leonard, they have to get in the backfield, but they also have to win the point of attack. Sometimes your defensive line wins the game by not really necessarily, padding the stat sheet with tackles for loss or sacks or hurries or knockdowns. It really is just winning the point of attack and not getting pushed back, but at least holding the line. So I'm going to be watching how that Penn State defensive line holds up against that vaunted Notre Dame Fighting Irish offensive line. Now, the keys to victory, I'm also going to share this with each team. So I'm going to wrap this up here with the Penn State side here. The keys to victory for Penn State, in my opinion, and please comment below, let me know what you think, is they really have to have a balanced offense. They cannot afford to be made one-dimensional by this Notre Dame defense. If quarterback Drew Aller and their OC are able to mix in, rush, and pass, it could end up being a very, very good night for the Penn State Nittany Lions. And the other thing that I think Penn State must do to be victorious is they must cash in on their scoring opportunities, because Notre Dame, how they play ball, they're going to try to really grind out the game, limit possessions, and really work on that time of possession. So when Penn State is able to take the field on offense, they must try to cash in every opportunity that they have. All right? And the last key to victory for Penn State, I've got a feeling it could come down to it. the kicking game. Not just place kicker Ryan Barker, but their punt unit as well. You must get your punts off. Your punt returners must bring them in cleanly. Do not have any special teams goofs. And I think Penn State will find potentially a path to victory if they execute those keys that I believe will lead them to victory. All right, now let's go ahead and move into the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. All right, so the impact players that I'm going to be looking at, that I'm putting an APB out for Notre Dame, it's got to start with their stud quarterback. I mean, sometimes people will use this phrase, game manager, and people act like it's a negative thing to say, but that really is exactly what Riley Leonard is and always has been, going back to his days at Duke. All right, this guy, all he does is make good decisions. He's proven he can definitely toss the ball vertically, but he can also use his legs to make plays, whether it's design, QB keeps or draws, scramble, extend plays. So this guy doesn't really make poor decisions that puts his team in bad situations. All right, so I think being called a game manager is a compliment for a quarterback. But hey, what do I know when it comes down to it? I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to coach or to be an official member of the press. So what do I know? Next, for Notre Dame in their defensive secondary, safety Xavier Watts. Guy has already proven he's the best cover and physical safety in the entire nation. I mean, he has got to come up big. Because once again, if Notre Dame can force them, Penn State, that is, to be one-dimensional, it highly, highly favors the Fighting Irish's attack game plan for this matchup, all right? So Xavier Watts has got to make things happen out there. He can't give up big plays. Just keep everything in front of you. Don't let anybody get behind you. Tackle, wrap up, and maybe try to force some turnovers, because like I already mentioned, Notre Dame has thrived at doing exactly that. Next is I got to mention running back Jeremiah Love. I mean, how can you not love Mr. Love? This is their big, bruising, physical running back. I mean, when you watch this guy play, he doesn't try to run around you. He doesn't try to outflank you. He is going to try to run over you and through you. A very physical runner. And like I said, this is Notre Dame's DNA. They want to ground and pound, just body blow after body blow, and tire them out. Just like Rocky did in Rocky IV against Ivan Drago, just body blow to chop that big tree down, right? And my last impact player for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish is I've got to mention tight end Mitchell Evans. Now, yes, I'm an Iowa fan. I love tight ends. Okay, we're tight end you. I don't care what the rest of y'all say, all right? But Notre Dame, the one weakness that I do believe they have is they don't have great perimeter superstars or game breakers, all right? Which that's not really what they need to do. They don't have to go out there and score 50 points a game or have a 3 or 4 play scoring drive. That's not really what they're looking to do. So Notre Dame and Riley Leonard would be more than happy just to dink and dunk you to death underneath all day and all night long to get a victory. So that's why I think tight end Mitchell Evans is a huge key for them. He's got great hands. He's proven that if that ball is thrown and it's catchable, he is going to come down and catch that ball, which is going to be key to sustaining drives and keeping those chains moving. All right, so I'll be looking out for the tight end play for Notre Dame. Now, the key unit for Notre Dame, who really needs to rise to the occasion, has got to be that offensive line. And that's why I think this matchup is so intriguing, because I mentioned the key unit for Penn State is the D-line, versus the key unit for Notre Dame, the offensive line. So which one of those two excellent units is going to come out on top? I cannot wait for it. Because if Notre Dame has to be one-dimensional and primarily pass, especially when they don't want to because they have to, it's going to be a long night potentially for the Fighting Irish. All right? Now, my keys to victory for mighty Notre Dame is they must control the lines of scrimmage. All right? The physicality, if that crumbles for Notre Dame, then that dam is going to start to crack, and there won't be a little Dutch boy around to plug that hole. So they have got to control the lines of scrimmage, protect Riley Leonard, create pressure on quarterback Drew Aller, live and get in that backfield, throw off his timing. They have got to create, all right? Now, the next key to victory for the Fighting Irish is the possession time that I already alluded to, and just having sustained drives. They are totally fine. Having a 10 or 11 play drive, use up 6, 7, 8 minutes, and then cash in with the field goal. Notre Dame is totally comfortable playing that sort of a ball game. So that's a key that they have to still stick with what has worked all year. Just wear out the defense, keep those chains moving, and possess that ball. Now, the other key to victory for Notre Dame, and I already just mentioned this just a little bit ago, that they do need to create some big chunk plays on offense, primarily and specifically through that vertical pass game. I think they need to have 4 big plays from wide receivers of 30 yards or more to really put themselves in striking distance or in the best situation possible to claim victory. So those are my keys to victory for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Please let me know what you think. Comment below. Get involved. Exercise your right, your college football voice. Like, share, subscribe, get notifications of my upcoming episodes. So now here it is. The moment you've all been waiting for. Who do I predict is going to win in advance to the national championship game? Whew. Well, let me just go ahead and give you a little hint, a little clue right here and now. I am going to channel my inner Newt Rockne. Once we get the ball, we're gonna go inside of him and outside him. Inside and outside, and once we get him on the run, we're going to keep him on the run, and we're going to go, and we're not going to stop till we get across that goal line. What do you say, men? This is the day we're going to win. What do you say? Yay! So that being said, I am taking the Penn State Nittany Lions to win and advance to the national championship game. I have a final score, Penn State 30, Notre Dame 20. I think it's going to be an absolute classic matchup. I mean, the history of these two programs, both blue bloods, the iconic Heisman Trophy winners, the moments, the coaches, Touchdown Jesus, Beaver Stadium, South Bend, Notre Dame Stadium. What's not to love about this matchup? And just what's not to love about college football in general? So that's it. That's my big Orange Bowl preview and predictions episode. Let me know what you think. Comment below, like, share, subscribe, rate, get notifications. Tell your fellow college football fans, your fellow college football brothers and sisters to check me out here in the Touchdown Black and Go vlog. Later on this evening or first thing tomorrow morning, I will have my second semifinal preview. My Cotton Bowl preview will be up and posted for your listening and viewing pleasure. That matchup between Texas and Ohio State. So you definitely want to check that out and see who do I predict Penn State is going to match up with. Will the SEC and Texas win in advance and kind of, put to bed or try to forget their bowl performance this season? Or will we have potentially an all Big Ten national championship game? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to view and find out. So until then, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your continued support, your time, your attention. So definitely be looking out for my next episode. Until then, please subscribe, And thank you. Take care of yourself. And as always, go Hawks. Take care from the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog.